let me show you, we have 10 global indicators. And what are they? Actually, they're the area, they're part of the fare construction. Actually, how the plane will fly, which territories the plane will fly over, where to make the connecting flight. Today, everything is done automatically. Even the pricing is automatically. Global indicators come out automatically. There is no worries about that something will come the wrong way. But not always everything is well. This is the point of this course as well. Many times we will have some mistakes. You know, the ATP Air Tariff Publishing Company, which is now the single aggregator, the single software company filing the fares throughout the system. So sometimes some mistakes can happen. We should know we have 10 different global indicators, again, depending where the flight actually is taking from which place to which one. And if you can go to the flight radar, 90% of the time they will respect this. There, I wanted to show you some examples when we have one global indicator and actually direction of travel is different, but because we have, unfortunately, the COVID-19 situation, on flight radar, whatever flight I was trying to find, it said, flight was canceled. So let's go, let's start with them. The first global indicator is for all the fares that involve journeys entirely within Area 1. So wherever we have a fare to be constructed for journeys involving only Area 1, the global indicator that will appear in the fare display will be like here. So once again, WH2 letter code will appear for fares or journeys entirely within Area 1. We have LA to Lima, we have Panama, Miami, Montreal, all of them travel within Area 1, Western Hemisphere. This will be the fare containing this two-letter code for global indicator Western Hemisphere. The next one, we have the Eastern Hemisphere. We said Area 2 and 3, they're part of Eastern Hemisphere. So all the flights, but again, not all of them, we will see the exceptions later on. Majority of the flights between Area 2 and Area 3, or within Area 2 or within Area 3, they will contain the global indicator Eastern Hemisphere EH. Cairo, Prague, Stockholm, we have Africa, Europe. That will be Eastern Hemisphere. Singapore to London, from here to here, within Area 2 and 3, Eastern Hemisphere again. So these are the two simple, I would say. If you have questions while I'm talking, please type it in the chat so I can spot it later on. Thank you. The next one, the journey involves flight across the Atlantic, like here. The fare will be displayed as AT, Amsterdam to Rio. So from Europe to Rio, the Atlantic is crossed. The first one says LA, from LA to London and then to Singapore. Once we have either the Atlantic or the Pacific Ocean crossed or flight over, then we will need to put the global indicator with these two-letter codes of the ocean. So we are not speaking about Indian Ocean, Arctic Ocean, we speak only about Atlantic and Pacific because they are actually the predominant ones. So for all the journeys, if you remember, I displayed the first slide from Etihad saying for the fares up here, fare display Singapore to Washington on Etihad. The flight will go Singapore, Abu Dhabi, Washington. That means Atlantic Ocean will be crossed. This is why we have the AT. So apart from Atlantic Ocean, we have flights over Pacific, of course, from the other side of the world. All the flights across Pacific will have PA. Again, not all of them. I will make some exceptions later on all this, but generic flights between Seattle and Beijing, let's say, they will cross the Pacific. Manila, Philippines, going to up there to Tokyo, and then from Tokyo, Vancouver here, they will fly over Pacific, and the global indicator stated in these fares will be PA. So once the fare is constructed, created, global indicator must be stated as well. And we have one more saying AP. That means if a journey involves and a travel that will cross both Atlantic and Pacific, then we will have AP. We must take both of the global indicators. So AP will be the global indicator for journeys. Amsterdam in Europe here, then Vancouver here, and then Tokyo, Pacific Ocean crossed. The next one is from Sydney to LA to London. Artie, you pressed, you wanted to ask something, or it's just
No, sorry.
Yeah, okay, no worries. So, journey, Sydney, LA, London. It's crossing the Pacific Ocean. That means the global indicator will be AP. So let me ask you something. It's a pointer poll, meaning you use your pointer and place it over, next or over the correct answer. Up there it says, guess the global indicator. Abu Dhabi, Rome, LA. For such journey, will the fare be Atlantic, Eastern Hemisphere, or Pacific? Okay, so Adil, yeah, Rogelio, you're here. Adil, you're here. Vivek, Shah, okay. So, Adil, can you unmute your mic?
Yeah.
And tell me why you pointed Eastern Hemisphere. So I can note to explain you why it's Atlantic.
Start from Abu Dhabi.
Yeah?
So it's on the eastern.
Exactly. It's
And
flying
then it goes Rome and Los Angeles.
Yes.
It crosses over.
Again, you said it. Once we have a journey that involves a flight over the Atlantic Ocean, immediately the journey, if it was only Abu Dhabi to Rome, then it would be Eastern Hemisphere. Okay? But if the journey involves the final destination, LA, which includes here the Atlantic Ocean, then it will be the Atlantic Global Indicator.
All right.
Did you understand now?
Yes.
Yeah, all clear? Great. Let's do another one. Use your pointers and tell me. Buenos Aires, Miami, Vancouver. What is the global indicator for this? Point it over or next to the global indicator you want. If you want to say something else, feel free. It's not a point that you point the correct answer according to the others. Feel free, give me an answer and we'll explain it. Rogelio, Shafik, Vivek, Evangelia, and Adil, what do you think? Buenos Aires, you can use Google. Buenos Aires, Miami, Vancouver, where they are placed. Do we have the flight over the ocean or not? So what do you think? I need you to press the pointer somewhere. Yeah, exactly. So the journey does not involve any ocean cross. So you're all correct. It was all within Western Hemisphere. And the final one for this poll, get the global indicator and place your pointers. London, Atlanta, Manila. Which oceans are crossed here? London, and this is like a generic knowledge of geography. It's fine if you don't know it. This is why we have Google today. We have the maps there and we can Google and find where the places are. Okay, all correct. London to Atlanta, flying over Atlantic, and then Atlanta to Manila, flying over Pacific. Now, because it's 12:30 almost, I will explain one more global indicator and we will stop here for a lunch break because I think you're probably pretty tired. So after the break, we can continue on with the global indicators. So one more to be explained and then a lunch break. So I said, even though these are the generic global indicators, we have some exceptions, such as this one. PN is the global indicator for flights between Southwest Pacific, which is Australia, New Zealand, flying to South America via points in North America. When was this created? This was created actually at the times when South America still didn't have a developed airline system. Many of them were connecting via North America to get to Australia and New Zealand because there were no direct flights from Lima, Buenos Aires points to Australia and New Zealand. And as America was much more developed at that time, having Pan Am, Northwest, American Airlines later on, Delta coming out, all of them making and offering connections between South America and Australia and New Zealand via points in North America. If we have a direct flight, Melbourne to Paramaribo in Suriname, which is placed north of South America, the direct flight would be Pacific. But if the travel is via any North America point, and now we're talking about geography, what is the North America point? Here they are. Countries, Canada, USA, Mexico, Greenland, St. Pierre, and Miquelon. Again, we would use Canada, USA, and Mexico only because they have huge airlines. So let's go back again to the PN before the break and say, sorry, wrong slide. The PN saying, if the flight is between Australia, New Zealand, Southwest Pacific, and South American points, but if the connecting or stopover point is via North America, then the global indicator will be PN, such as Melbourne, Miami, Paramaribo, or Sydney, Houston, Buenos Aires. Sydney here, Houston here, Buenos Aires here. I'll leave you with this thought, and I will ask you now, if you have any questions, please ask them now. Stay online. If you don't have questions, you can put them on even on paper for later on. Yes, Shafiq? Unmute your mic, please, and you can ask me.
Sorry, yeah, what's the actual purpose of all these area and sub-area classification? So what happens if these countries are not classified into areas and sub-areas?
Well, actually, they all are already. This is, what I mentioned at the beginning. They were all agreed like this much long before even we were born. I speak about 1950s.
Yeah, but what's the benefit in the actual world, like for now? What's the benefit of countries having...
Simply the FAIR by IATA resolution is a must to have the global indicator. Because the global indicator is stated within the FAIR construction, meaning, for example, travel agents, they use a lot of fares, right? They don't sell only the one airline fare. They use them all. So in case they spot that the fare of United Airlines is PN, immediately they will spot that this fare, and sometimes they want to force it to use it for some other flights, but it's not possible. They must use the Pacific North journey, let's say the Pacific North routing, in order to be okay to implement this fare for this journey. So actually, it's the physical and actual movement of the aircraft.
Okay.
Can
you give an actual example? Like you said, like they want to use it for something else, right? So you have a real example?
I have later on, tomorrow, when we start the routing fares, I'll show you how can you spot by the global indicator the real fare. And once you want to create it, you must be able to interpret faster the global indicator that will tell you, for example, for Turkish Airlines, I have an example. Later on, we'll cover TS, Trans-Siberian. It will say it must go via points in Japan, Korea, direct flight from Europe to Japan, Korea first, and then to New Zealand. So for the travel agent, it makes easier to spot even though it is described within the routing. By following the global indicator, you will find many answers much quicker. And
okay.
They're natural part of the fare construction. Simply they exist.
Okay.
Okay. Just a quick saying about, we will use this journey as this one, you will find it in your manuals anytime repeated. Dublin, Istanbul, Beijing, Tokyo. This was created even when I took my first IATA course, 2005. So we still have this same example, and I like the tradition and still use it in our manuals. So a journey, we all know what it is. It's for us dealing with the tickets, with the fares. Actually, it's entire trip from the origin to destination. Our job is to find the lowest applicable international fare. This is our role. So here we are just going to cover to say, what types of journey we have, and just speak about the pricing units a little bit so you understand the difference. So I think you all have a feeling what is a one-way journey. So what is a one-way? Simply, you're going there, you're not coming back, at least by plane. So again, we are speaking about international trips. This is why we say origin and destination cities are in different countries, because we are dealing only with international travel here. But again, not that always origin and destination cities, when they are in different countries, will contain a one-way. Sometimes you can have an open jaw, and I think that all of you are very clear with the open jaw. We will come to that. For the one-way, origin destination in different countries, one continuous direction, this is the most important, and it can be a direct or indirect flight. Here we have the Emirates direct flight, Frankfurt to Dubai. The second one representing Ukraine International Airlines, PS, Frankfurt, Kiev, Kiev, Dubai, so connecting in Kiev. For the return, any kind of return journey is a journey where origin and destination points are the same. If they're not the same, we might be having some open jaw section. So for any kind of return journey, origin and destination points are the same. We don't have any surface transportation within this journey. Everything is covered by air travel. Frankfurt to Dubai, Dubai to Frankfurt. Or Frankfurt, Kiev, second line Kiev, Dubai, third line Dubai, Kiev for Kiev, Frankfurt. Return journey. It has outbound and inbound leg or fare component. Later on we will use it. So outbound is Frankfurt to Dubai, inbound Dubai to Frankfurt. And here Frankfurt to Dubai, Dubai to Frankfurt. So again, it can be always direct or indirect flight. What do we know about open jaws? So how do you clarify open jaw? Can somebody of you just unmute your mic? Don't have to raise hand. Just tell me, what do you know about open jaws? Is this an open jaw that we are seeing here?
Going to one destination and coming back from another destination.
Exactly. But can we have, let's say, flying from Dubai to New York and then New York to Abu Dhabi? Is that an open jaw as well?
Could you please repeat that, Vladimir?
Yes. If a journey involves a flight such as Dubai, New York, Abu Dhabi. Is that an open jaw?
Yes.
Exactly. That's an open jaw as well, because the open jaw can happen at the origin point. That means the origin point is not the same. This one is TOG from here, from these abbreviations. So OOG is a origin open jaw, meaning that the origin point is not the same. Dubai, New York, Abu Dhabi is not a return trip. It's considered open jaw because it didn't end at the same origin point. Here we have turnaround open jaw, Hong Kong to Sydney, and then from Perth to Hong Kong. From Hong Kong, we go to Australia, we come back from Australia, but in between, point of turnaround is not the same. So this is the TOG code, turnaround open jaw. And TOG is double open jaw, meaning that when the origin and destination are not the same, such as Dubai to New York, Washington to Abu Dhabi, both the origin and turnaround point of turnaround are not the same. In that case, we will have double open jaw. Double open jaws are not covered on this course in terms of the fare calculation. They're caught a little bit on the special fares and ticketing intermediate, and on advanced we have a very huge module about them. And around the world. What is around the world? Would you like to go around the world after the course? Or after Corona? I think we do. Mohammed?
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I think we will at least go to the places we spotted on the world map.
I'm okay for a 10-minute walk even.
Yeah, trust me, I'm stuck at home until 16th of April by the police, so 10 minutes walking. Yeah, luckily I have a long apartment here.
Same here in Amman, by the way.
So, around the world is a type of a return journey. Why we say it's a type of return? Because it must start and end the same points, and there are no gaps in between. So we must have everything covered by flights. Otherwise, because it will be considered as an open jaw. It's continuously either we go east or westbound. You cannot go east, 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 and then start turning west, west, west. That's not around the world. And we must cross both of the oceans. in order to determine that the journey can be identified as a journey type as around the world. Now, can you just quickly open activity 4 from the individual activity workbook? And it's a very simple one. So find your files, individual activity workbook. We will try activity 4, which looks like this. And we'll just need you to point me the correct answers, nothing else. It's very simple. So once again, activity 4 from the individual now activity workbook. Try to find it. Once you find it, take like 1 minute to, and just go through the questions and use your pointer and just place it somewhere here. Here, let's say if it's a circle trip, just try to point it. I know it's a small space, but I think you don't have a problem to identify whether this is a one-way. Or even you can even, because it's visible on my slide, you can even type it in the chat or unmute your mic and tell me the answer. So, Shafi, can you tell me the first one? Because I can see yours here. Is this one way?
Yeah, one way.
Okay, so it's too visible. It's Moscow to St. Petersburg. Yeah, it's pretty. Thank you, Adil. Yeah, it's a one way. So some of you, let's say I will choose Rogelio. Can you tell me, second question, what type of journey is this? Just point it or say it loudly. Yeah, exactly. It's an open job. Thank you for this. Number 3, Evangelia. Could you just point anywhere? As you can see, Paris, New York, Amsterdam, Paris. What kind of journey is this? Is it around the world? Exactly, it's round trip. And Adil maybe? Or Adil answered, sorry. Shafiq, could you go number 4? What kind of journey is this at the end? Paris, Seoul, LA, Paris. Actually, this is the around the world. Yeah, it's a little bit tricky to spot it because, you know, from Paris, it's going to Seoul, then goes over the Pacific to LA, then over the Atlantic to Paris. So it is around the world. But okay, as I said, just to know the around the world, simply you need to have some time to spot it on the map and to find out whether this is a one-way round trip around the world, whatever that is. Regarding to the type of the journey, once we find out what kind of journey type we have, now we can speak about the fares and about the pricing unit. So this is the definition of the pricing unit that this course is going to cover. We will try to put all the intermediate, all the ticketed points involved under one fare. What can happen, and this is covered on the advanced course, we may break the journey even into 2 pricing units. So the pricing unit is something, it's a fare, and actually by the definition, the pricing unit is a journey or part of a journey that is being able to be ticketed separately from the rest of the journey. Meaning, if you want to break the journey into smaller pieces, if you want to make 2 fare bases, this is easier for you to understand. Once in the journey we have 2 or 3 different fare bases, maybe this journey was cut into different pricing unit types. For this course, we will try to put all these points into one. It doesn't mean it will be the cheapest. You know probably from your work that the direct represented fare for such a journey may be involving stopover points. It's not the cheapest one. Maybe it's easier if you have a stopover point, try to price it like 2 single one-ways. Then you will have 2 pricing units. Our job here will be to try to find the lowest applicable fare for the single pricing unit. And once we are speaking about pricing unit, it is related to the thing which fares are used for which journey types. I think we all know that for one-way fares, and this is the first pricing unit type we will always have one-way fares. So if the journey is identified like a one-way, we cannot use round-trip fares. Even though round-trip fares many times, especially for the long-haul flights, are much cheaper. One-way fares will be used for one-way journeys. One-way fares are quoted in the actual direction of travel. So for one-way pricing unit, we say it's the same as one-way fare component. Why we say that? Because round-trip So round and circle trip here are part of so-called return trips. They have at least two fare components. So round trip from Dubai to New York, it's an outbound fare component. New York to Dubai, it's the inbound fare component. So at least we have to have two. So they need to use half return fares. So both round trips, circle trips, and even open jaws, they are all returning somewhere. So they are not a one-way, they're returning somewhere. In this case, we must use the half return fare. Actually, we say half return because we use half for the outbound and half for the inbound. This is how it is done. And of course, we'll cover this when we come to the round and circle trips. But I think you all are familiar with this so far. So round trips are the simple journeys. They have only two fare components. And the global indicator of the fare components are the same, meaning if the outbound fare component is Eastern Hemisphere or Atlantic, the return part, the return fare component called inbound must be the same. In case we have a combinability of global indicators, so in case there are differences such as going to the places, let's say Amsterdam to Tokyo, it's a direct flight, that will be TS, but Tokyo, Dubai, Amsterdam will be EH. But once we have different global indicators, outbound and inbound, we'll turn the journey to the circle trip. Circle trips may have even three fare components. And under the circle trips, we have around the world fares as well, and around the world journeys. So around the world is sort of a price as a circle trip is. And for the open jaw, we said open sectors, which can be origin open jaw, turnaround, or double open jaw. Again, they are treated as a return trip. This is why they use half return fares per direction, per fare component. But they are interrupted by a break in the air journey, meaning part of the journey is not covered by air. So the journey I mentioned at the beginning, going from Dubai, then to New York and coming back to Abu Dhabi. We don't know how the passenger took the journey between Abu Dhabi and Dubai. And we don't care about it because we must focus on our job. So whether he walked between them, took the bus, took the rent-a-car, taxi, that's something that we are not getting involved with. For us, it's important how to price the journey, how to treat it. The around the world. As for the pricing unit, we said it's a part of the circle trip pricing unit system. So we said that it must cross both of the Pacific and Atlantic Ocean, but it's important when considering the routing with as a pricing unit of the around the world, which is again part of the circle trip. It must have at least one ticketed point in all three IATA traffic conferences. So this one, around the world, has Paris to Seoul, Paris number 2, Seoul number 3, then Seoul to LA, 3 to 1, and then 1 to 2. So we covered both of the oceans, we covered all three ticketed points in all three areas. At least one ticketed point in all three areas must be there. And the global indicators of the outbound and inbound are not the same. They're never the same for the around the world journeys. This is why we call them circle trips, because circle trips, there are differences in the fare components. There may be, but for the around the world, there must be. For the open jaw, just as an example, origin open jaw, Beijing to Bangkok, Bangkok to Shanghai. Coming back to China, this is the Air China flight, but it is not coming in the same city. So leaving from Beijing, come back to Shanghai. This is so-called origin open jaw. For the turnaround open jaw, we have Rome to Paris, Nice to Rome. This one, as we all know, it's arrival unknown. ARNK stands for arrival unknown, meaning the system is confused, there is no flight in between, what to do with it. Simply, this kind of journey is called turnaround open jaw. And double one is when the both origin and destinations are different, meaning point of turnaround. So Amsterdam to New York, Atlanta to Brussels. Both origin and the point of turnaround are not the same. This is just a short introduction to the pricing unit system that we are going to use. On this course, we will cover one-way, round, and circle trips. And of course, for this course, we will use normal fares. More about normal fares is coming now. Validating carrier and baggage rule selection. To see how it is done. Which document can we issue? And actually, what is the travel agent policy? Of course, in Etihad, you can print only Etihad ticket. In Fly Dubai, you can print Fly Dubai. You cannot print Lufthansa ticket, right? So this is more about what are the rules from the travel agency perspective, why sometimes you are getting the document, let's say your flights were issued on another airline. Let's see what are the rules for that. So we'll speak about a little bit about the issuing carrier and the baggage rules. Once we have interline agreement between many carriers, in case they don't have pre-agreement, which baggage rules will be applicable. So how the system in travel agency chooses the validating issuing carrier. So pay attention to this. It's a Belgrade, Frankfurt, Havana, Havana, Frankfurt, Belgrade. And we have 3 carriers. And we have the pricing. Do you think that according to the travel agent policy and IATA policy, can this ticket be issued on any of these 3? So I need you just to press green or red check mark so I can see what you think. This is from travel agency perspective. Can this ticket be issued on any of these 3 carriers? What do you think? Okay, I can see 2 yes. Coming, you can either press green here, green or red check. Shafiq says yes. And Adil and Evangelia, what do you think? Can we issue for this fare any of these 3 documents? Even if you say the wrong answer, it's still fine. Don't be shy. Adil says no. Evangelia? And Evangelia says yes. So thank you for being active participants throughout this course. So what is the rule? The rule, yeah, could be better if agent is issued. Exactly. So what's happening? Actually, by the IATA BSP system, and I think you all know what BSP is, the Billing and Settlement Plan of IATA for all travel agents around the world apart from the United States. This is the way of billing and settlement plan, as the name says, between travel agents and airlines. It's all going through IATA platform. Apart from, again, United States of America, they have the ARC. It's another way of reporting, but let's say it's similar to the BSP. So the rule of BSP says that you can choose any airline participating in the transportation. So any airline participating in the transportation, it is okay to issue the document of any 3. The fare, the owner of the fare is actually Condor in this case because they are flying long haul from Frankfurt to Havana. It's their published fare, but they don't fly to Belgrade. They cooperate with both Lufthansa and Air Service. So automatically the system Amadeus said priced with validating carrier Condor. This is how we know what the system chose, recognizing that the fare owner is Condor. But in case the fare rule does not say must be issued on Condor, and if it's allowing any of the participating airlines, then the agent can choose any of these 2 remaining. Take your pointers and point somewhere where the correct answer is. In which category of the fare rule it is explained whether we can issue this document on fare owner carrier or any other carrier. Great. Category 15, sales restrictions. Thank you very much. So there it is. This is LATAM, South America, Sao Paulo to Santiago, Santiago to Miami. Automatically, the ticket was default plating carrier. This is now Galileo. It recognized that by the fare rule, and the fare rule category 15 says tickets must be issued on LA or LP and may not be sold in Venezuela. Or LA or XL, or M or C. These are the carriers offered in cooperation with LA, the main carrier, the fare owner. But what happens, for example, Delta Airlines? On many European markets, they said, we are not going to have our plating carrier authority for travel agents. Most of the European countries, they don't. But by the default, they made a pre-agreement to do it with Air France. I took here on purpose Yankee class because we are covering more of the unrestricted fares. And as you can see, actually, in the sale restrictions, it is only the countries mentioned that cannot be used for ticket issuance. But as for, let's say, it doesn't say that this fare cannot be priced on American Airlines. By the default, now it's set up on Air France because it's pre-agreed between Delta and Air France that Air France will be the issuing carrier for all Delta fares and Delta flights. But again, once the sale restriction says nothing inside, that means we can issue this ticket even on Etihad. But only if Etihad allows so. If Etihad says, as we heard from the beginning of the course, Etihad is not allowing their documents to be issued for reservations not containing even one single Etihad segment, then technically we can issue this ticket on Etihad. But what will happen afterwards? So, Shafiq Rogelio, what if I issue this ticket on Etihad? How much will you charge me afterwards? What is the policy? Can you type me, you know, the ADM policy in case I issue this Delta ticket on Etihad stock? I can do it technically. There will be an ADM. And how much will be the ADM? Based on the highest fare? Okay, then I will stop immediately to think about that idea, I promise. I don't want to pay a couple of thousand. Thank you for this.